Welcome to the Viking Age podcast, the official podcast of thevikingage.com. We do this every Monday and Thursday night right here on the Viking Age YouTube channel. And we are also available on podcast form on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. So like, comment, share, subscribe so you never miss a new episode. My name is Chris Schad. I am a writer for the Viking Age as well as zone coverage and bring me the news. And joining me is Kirk Cousins, I guess. Actually, it's Adam Patrick, the editor of the Viking Age, as you can see with the little name tag thing at the bottom of the screen. But as you can tell, it is Halloween, which is why, he's got all those chains around his neck right now. So, Adam or Kirk, what is your scariest experience as a Vikings fan?
Well, first off, I just had to get this chain on because it's so empowering. I could just hear it from Kirk talking about it. Just had to get the experience for myself. Scariest moment as a Vikings fan. Speaking from a Kirk perspective was probably anytime I threw an interception and had to come to the sideline and Mike Zimmer yelled at me, but not being Kirk as Adam Patrick, it would be when Randy Moss got traded in 2005. Favorite player for myself, a lot of other Vikings fans as well, traded in the middle of his prime, went to the Raiders and didn't really do that well, and I don't really think it was really his fault, but then he went to the Patriots and exploded again, and it was. Then he came back to the Vikings and it was like, it wasn't the same, but yeah, like that was scary. I didn't want Randy Moss to be traded from the Vikings. He's the best.
There's a video floating around today of Randy Moss talking to Bill Belichick and convincing him to come to their Halloween party. And it's just so funny. He's just like, Halloween party, man. You want to come? And Belichick's like, you want me to dress him as the devil or what? And he's like, well, you'd probably win the contest. That sounds awesome. But, I mean, that's just a pretty funny video. My experience, my scariest experience as a Vikings fan has nothing to do with the actual Vikings on field. Because what Super Bowl was it? 45? Is that the last one the Packers won? It was
2011.
Yeah. So
it's the Steelers.
The Steelers, whatever. Packers Steelers Super Bowl. I was in college and my friends decided to throw an anti-Packer party. So we were in the comfort of somebody else's apartment or house or whatever it was at that time. And all of a sudden at halftime, something happened and we all left. So my friend and her boyfriend at the time were in downtown River Falls, which is in Wisconsin. She's like, hey, we're at the bar. Do you want to come down and join us for the second half? And I'm like, well, yeah, I want to be out for this. Like, whatever. Like, it's Super Bowl. It's fun. Whatever. So I run down, no coat or anything, in the winter in Wisconsin. And I get about halfway to the bar and I realize I am wearing all my anti-Packer stuff while the Packers are in the Super Bowl, while, in the middle of Wisconsin. So I am wearing a Percy Harvin jersey. Ooh. I have a terrible towel that I bought off eBay.
Oh no!
And I decided to go in. And you know what? I mean, I wasn't like a dick or anything to anybody. I was super nice and like whatever. Yeah. I mean, and I was cheering for the Steelers because I wanted them to win naturally. So of course we all know the Packers won the Super Bowl. And this guy, I don't remember it from exactly what he said at the 2-minute warning, but he was basically threatening to kick my ass at the 2-minute warning. And I'm like, all right, yeah, cool. You guys are about to win the Super Bowl.
Didn't they win?
Yeah. I think it was within doubt at that moment. But, the Packers won, and everybody around me was like super nice about it. Like, I was like, hey, congrats, you just won the Super Bowl. Like, I wish my team could win a Super Bowl. That sounds like a lot of fun. Yeah. And this guy goes behind the bar. He grabs a bottle of Tito's and he grabs a book of matches. So he takes the bottle of Tito's and just starts throwing the vodka at me. And then he tries to light the match. Fortunately, my friend's boyfriend at the time was 7 foot tall and on the basketball team.
Wow.
So he picked him up off the ground and slammed him against the wall. So I made sure my friend got out of there safely with vodka all over me. And I remember him screaming at this guy, and he's like, "You need to calm down." And this guy's like, "How much is he paying you? Like, he's not your real friend." He's like, "He's my friend. Calm down." And the only thing that I could remember is, sitting in the car and repeatedly saying, "I can't believe they tried to light me on fire." And there's a whole nother like section to this story that we call World War III, and there's like broken glass, and somebody told me to do stuff to Greg Jennings that I'm not really comfortable with. So anyway, the moral of the story is don't go to Wisconsin wearing Viking stuff in the middle of a Super Bowl, because they will kick your ass, or at least try to light you on fire, something along those lines.
I wish that was surprising, but it's not. It's not.
If I did get light on fire, I could like dress up as Kane like every day. It wouldn't even be like Halloween. Could have like the little buzzer, like, "My name is Kane." Non-wrestling fans are like, "What the hell is he talking about right now?" Excuse me. I also got a cold, so this is we're kind of roughing it here. Excuse me, fill some time.
All right. The Vikings yesterday, they beat the Cardinals. I think it was by 8 points, because of course it couldn't be easy. It was a one-score game, of course.
They are physically incapable of winning a game by more than one possession. At this point, I am just convinced that they can't do it. No matter who it is, what the opponent is, it is a law of fact. I do not make the rules. The Vikings cannot win a game by more than one possession.
Yeah.
You want me to take it from here?
Yeah.
No, I'm right not dying. I only feel like I am. It's not COVID. Don't worry. Or the coof. Sorry. Demonetized, I guess. But this is a game where the Vikings look to be in control for most of it. Dalvin Cook had his first 100-yard game on the ground. Zadarius Smith had 3 sacks. Kyler Murray threw a couple of picks. I think this is the Vikings' best game of the year. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so. They got everything was pretty much rolling. They didn't have as many 3-and-outs as they had, I believe, against the Dolphins in their last game, when like they had a couple scoring drives and then every other drive was a 3-and-out. At least some of these drives were more than 3 plays. But then they got a good effort from the defense, which put a bunch of pressure on Kyler Murray out of there. And they got some turnovers. They forced some turnovers on special teams, which special teams just playing great. Just coverage wise, they're just playing great. Ryan Wright had a good punt. Greg Joseph, we can talk about him later. Coaching decisions were good. Refs, like there were some iffy penalties here, like the Patrick Peterson pass interference, but overall they weren't like egregious, I don't think. It was a like you've talked about, I think in the past, like just not being excited about the Vikings, or like not knowing what to think of this team. But like at this point, like yesterday, I found myself feeling really calm when they were down by like 2 or 3 points, and I was like, there's a lot of time left. They've already proven they can gain, plenty of yards against this defense. Not worried. And then what did they do? They pulled away and they won. And I think Kevin O'Connell has a lot to do with that, because he's just this like cool, calm, and collected guy. He's like, guys, we got a lot of time left. Let's not freak out. The world isn't ending. Figure it out, and we'll win. And that's what they did.
I think you're right. And I mean, I was looking at a clip before I came on the air here of Pat McAfee on his show today, and he just said the Vikings are really effing good. Like, that's a good football team, basically.
Yeah.
And I believe him at this point. I think sometimes I get in the mindset of what is going to win the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
And like the Vikings, there are things they can correct. Like Kirk Cousins did some Kirk Cousins stuff yesterday. He was checking out on 3rd and 8. Will Raggets posted a video trying to hype up Adam Thielen, and everybody saw Justin Jefferson open 20 yards downfield. So I don't know if that was like by design by Will, just to like, hey, look, Adam Thielen made a catch, or
maybe he's done that. He's highlighted Kirk's mistakes in the past, and everyone's been like, what are you doing? Don't do that.
Honestly, I'm surprised like you don't have visitors at your house right now, dressed up
Yeah.
like that.
Oh, yeah.
But but
Certain people from Boston. Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I mean, like the thing about this team is like this is exciting. This is a good football team. Like I know like Kirk's got to be a little bit better, which is fine. He played fine yesterday. He didn't do anything to screw anything up. And I mean, even with the standing of the NFC right now, the Vikings are in a position where they're probably going to get a home playoff game. They're going to win the NFC North because the Packers are bad. The Lions are Bears are just non-factors. Like they're worse than bad.
The Bears don't want to be good. They're like, we're scoring too many points. We need to trade everyone away. Like, stop scoring points.
They're going to. I mean, I saw something. They have like $109 million in cap room and like 9 draft picks. It's like, who the hell's gonna want to come there? Like, right? It's just like I don't know.
Field. They're in that really great.
Who wants
field.
to wear that gaudy orange helmet too? That just seems like it's like the Jurassic Park thing. Like, just because we can do it doesn't mean we should.
Yeah.
But I mean, look at this. So you get a home playoff game in the NFC. By winning the division. And then the rest of the NFC, you look at it, it's like Seattle's the 3 seed. They're actually good, it looks like.
They're a little frisky.
Yeah. The Falcons are 4-4. I don't know if they're good, but I mean they're gonna get a playoff spot if they win that division. Then you have the Giants and the Cowboys. By the time we get to the second by the time we get to the playoffs, we'll play both of them at home. And then the 7 seed could be San Francisco. Not really liking that. But again, you get them at home if you get that second seed. So all things considered, then you look at the next round. It's like, okay, if the Vikings hang on to that second seed, you get a second playoff game if you win the first one. So, I mean, that's 2 playoff games. Then you go to Philadelphia and shoot, I'd flip a coin in Philadelphia. I mean, people will be, everybody's focused on the end. Philadelphia looks like a great team, but I mean, at this point, like, I don't even think this is like halfway because they're good. I think they got a little bit of luck in them, and who cares? I'd rather be lucky than good. The Vikings and the Packers have basically switched spots from a year ago because the Vikings were like, if we can only get to 500, we can only battle back, and everybody looks like they're going to the dentist every Sunday and everything else. And like the Packers were just winning games. We're like, they're lucky. How are they doing this? I don't understand. Now it's the Vikings doing that, and the Packers look like they just don't want to be there anymore. So, I mean, it's exciting. Like Kevin O'Connell called this an ascending team. Like, do you think that's what we're looking at here?
Oh, for sure. Because we keep talking about stuff they can get better at, and they're 6-1. So I mean, they're playing really well, and they still can be better, which is good. You're hoping that they can stay pretty healthy. I know Delvin Tomlinson went down with a calf injury yesterday, and what O'Connell called him week to week, so he's probably not going to play against the Commanders next weekend. Same thing with Irv Smith. He got hurt again with an ankle injury. Zadarius Smith had a little Zadarius Smith had a little scare yesterday with his knee-to-knee injury, but he came back and he looked fine to me. But yeah, they gotta stay healthy. Keep improving. The offense looked more. People looked more comfortable. I feel like in the offense yesterday, especially running the ball. They ran the ball really well. The Cardinals were actually a good run defense, which kind of surprised me that the Vikings were able to just do whatever they pretty much want. Kirk Cousins was able to do whatever he wanted running the ball. You mentioned the 49ers as a team that could get in the playoffs as a 7 seed or whatever. I was thinking this today, like trying to compare like what Kirk Cousins is compared to some quarterbacks in the past, and I keep going back to some people are gonna be like this, the insult. But 2019 Jimmy Garoppolo. When they went to the NFC Championship, like they didn't put that team on his back. They asked him to make throws when he needed to make throws. He didn't really turn the ball over, and he got the job done. I think he finished with like 3,900 passing yards, 27 touchdowns, and 13 interceptions. That feels like a stat line that Kirk Cousins is heading towards. And they went 13-3 that year. Granted, their defense is a lot better than the Vikings defense right now. But that's who I keep going back to. Like, Kirk Cousins this season is peak Jimmy Garoppolo, because I would compare him to the Jimmy Garoppolo of now, because he's not as good. But I would say right now Kirk Cousins is peak Jimmy Garoppolo, and I feel like that's not a bad thing, because the team that he was on when he played well went 13-3. But yeah, this team, they're 6-1, and they still have plenty to improve, which is exciting because they can get better. And I think it's good that they played the Eagles already, because in 2017, when they didn't play the Eagles and they went into that NFC Championship like, oh, we're gonna beat this team, Nick Foles, like, well, this is easy. They got creamed. Now this time they can go into, if they play them again in the playoffs, they can go and be like, okay, this is what we did wrong. This is what we did well. Let's do more of this, and this way we can, maybe have a better chance of beating them. So, yeah, I'm excited. They're 6-1. Like, there's very little to not be happy about a 6-1 team.
And although they got crushed in that game earlier in the season, excuse me, they only lost 24-7.
Mm-hmm.
And the Eagles did not score in the second half.
Nope.
You look at their touchdowns. I mean, Jalen Hurts had one on a very good drive, but then they had another one, which was a miscommunication in the secondary. They were working out the offense. I don't know. Like I said, flip a coin in Philadelphia. You lose, whatever. We're Vikings fans. We've been hurt worse than that before. Like, is that all you got?
Yeah, it's week 8. Jalen Hurts runs a lot. Who's to say that he's going to be healthy all the way to the NFC Championship? Do we expect him to make, play every game this season? I don't. So we'll see. We'll see. I don't know. I'd rather have that game be in Minnesota, but we'll see. We're getting ahead of ourselves.
Another topic that came out of this game was the revenge of the ex-Birds.
Yeah.
Jordan Hicks making a big stop on, Benjamin late in the game. He had 6 tackles. And then Patrick Peterson was on one, as the kids say. Yeah. Busted out the old Call of Duty celebration in the third quarter, where I think somebody was like pretending they had a gun. And then, what's that?
And then after the game, he was like, "What's that? I don't even know what I did. What do you?" Someone was like, "You did because he did a yoga pose after too. He did like the baby Yoda."
Oh, gotcha.
Somebody was like, "You did a yoga pose." He's like, "I did? Oh, I don't even remember." Just like, oh boy.
He was petty AF, as the kids would also say.
Oh, yeah.
But he also called. I mean, he went as far as in the post game presser or scrum, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Talking about like the Cardinals. Apparently Steve Keim hasn't like called him and said, "Hey, thanks for everything," which Patrick Peterson is a big part of Cardinals history. So, I mean, he's got a bit of a point there, but he also told a story where they would leave emails from angry season ticket holders and print them out and put them on his chair. And one of them said, so he said it was like Joe H. Barry or whatever, which I would hate to be that guy sitting at home, just like, just checking it out. Patrick, whoa, he's like catching strays out here. But that was something. I mean, this defense as a whole, they gave up 26 points, but I think one of the things that has me so optimistic is they are making the right play at the right time.
Yeah.
Like last year, when they needed a big play, they never got it. Nope. You could say the same about 2020 and even 2019 at times. They never got the big play when they needed it. They are making plays. They're playing confidently. I mean, Cameron Dantzler came out last week and smashed Mike Zimmer, saying he straight up told him, "I don't talk to injured players." Like, it's like a caricature at this point of him.
Yeah.
Just, this defense, they are giving up points. They are giving up yards. But I mean, I like how they're performing when they need to perform. And it is classic bend but don't break.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think the announcers said they did talk to Ed Donatell before, and how he's like, we're going to give up a bunch of yards. We're going to give a bunch of yards in between the 20s or whatever. But once you get in that red zone, you're not going to score. And we're going to get turnovers. We're going to get sacks. And that's what they're doing. So we're looking at like how many yards they're giving up, and we're like freaking out because we're like, they're giving up like 400 yards a game. And it's like, yeah, but how many points are they giving up? They're not giving up that many points. and that's what it comes down to is points. Like if 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 you scored points with yards, the Vikings would be screwed, but you don't. So, um, this defense is just different than what we're used to. I think the Mike Zimmer defense is like, we're just gonna shut you down everywhere. Like you're not gonna gain yards, you're not gonna score, you're not gonna do anything. Where this defense is like, we're gonna make you think that you can do stuff. But then when you try and do it again, we're gonna be there and we're gonna intercept the pass or we're gonna sack you or whatever. Like it's a different scheme, so I think we still have to get used to it. The players are getting used to it, but it seemed like just like the offense, it seemed like people were more comfortable yesterday. They got a lot of pressure. Now, the Cardinals did have 3 offensive linemen that were out, starting offensive linemen. That was probably a factor, especially
Yeah.
because Za'Darius Smith was lining up inside a lot, which they were trying to take advantage of, and it worked. Um, but yeah, the defense look good. They play well at home. The crowd is definitely a factor, which is why getting a home playoff game is essential. But yeah, I like this defense. There's some things that can get better. Curious to see how it does without Dalvin Tomlinson. If he has to miss some time because he's been arguably their best defensive player next to Zadarius Smith. So I'm curious to see how that goes. And then yeah, Patrick Peterson's playing good, but I saw a bunch of Cardinals fans yesterday being like, "Well, it's funny they didn't put him on. They didn't try and have him shut down DeAndre Hopkins." I'm like, "Would you put your 30-year-old corner on DeAndre Hopkins? No, you wouldn't. You'd put the 24-year-old corner who can has the speed still to keep up with him." So I don't blame the Vikings for not shadowing DeAndre Hopkins with Patrick Peterson because that wouldn't have even been a good idea.
I
So
feel like that's something Mike Zimmer would have tried to have done. Like, I think
I
with
don't
this
know.
defense, like, think about it. Like, Mike Zimmer's defense demanded perfection at all times. And
Yeah.
like when you're playing that game, you're just kind of like, if I make a mistake, I'm going to turn around and Mike Zimmer is going to be standing with a shotgun on the sidelines. Or like, I think I remember hearing a story like they had the F up of the week or whatever that they just
Wow.
played on all the screens at TCO Performance Center.
That's
Just
good.
like, this, like, don't be this guy. And like Garrett Bradbury apparently was like one of the stars or something.
The stars.
Don't quote me on that, but I mean he was featured regularly, if I remember the report correctly. But
Not a cast member, but a frequent special guest.
he was the Leo DiCaprio of the F ups for the Vikings last year. But I mean, I think that plays a factor. It's like knowing, okay, if I give up this 10-yard pass in the middle of the 20s, like they're gonna be okay, next play.
Yeah.
Like it happened on like the same play against the Bears.
Yeah.
Like Cameron Dantzler gets burned, he gets stiff armed to the core of the earth,
Yep.
gets up and strips for the game-winning
Yep.
fumble.
Yep.
I mean, that's part of the confidence.
Yep.
And I think it's all over the place. Like Kirk is throwing, I mean, he talked about a 3rd and I think it was 4 pass to Jefferson in the 3rd quarter, where he's like, I was throwing it just like I shouldn't throw this. And Justin Jefferson went, it's cool. I got
Was
it.
it that 50-50 ball?
I had
It was like
50-50 ball. Yeah. I can't remember who was on him, but
yeah, he was covered, but he didn't matter.
yeah, because he's Justin Jefferson and he's a
Yeah.
badass. You know, it's awesome when you throw it wide open to him by 15 yards too, but I don't know. I'm
He's
not going to
wide
smash you, Kirk.
he's
Since
wide
you've
open
taken
when
the
he's
time to
covered.
be on the show.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that.
When he's not open, he's open.
Yeah,
Like
he's
DeAndre Hopkins,
well, you saw that you know,
the one-hander.
the ball that Taylor Heineke threw yesterday to Terry McLaurin, where he just said "F it" and just threw it up, and
Terry down there somewhere.
and it worked. And I don't know, man. The Vikings are favored by like 3.5 already on the road to the Commanders, but I'm just like, the old Vikings in me is like Taylor Heineke revenge game. I don't know. No,
It's gonna kick the door of opportunity down.
right through the glass. Yeah, this team is getting there. You know, the defense, it's not what we're used to, but they're making plays, and we just have to figure out whether we keep saying too. Like I keep seeing people like it's not sustainable. They're not going to get turnovers. It's not sustainable. It's not sustainable. But it is. Like if that's how they play on defense, it's going to be sustainable. Like they're just in places where you know if an overthrow happens here, there's going to be a guy there to catch the ball. Cameron Bynum. He just seems to be like in just random spots, and with the ball just ends up in his hands. So I don't know. I like this defense. I'm getting used to the way that they're playing by like, okay, whatever. They gave up a 20-yard pass. Great. But did they score a touchdown? No, they didn't. Okay. That's all I care about.
Well, we spent the first 27 minutes of this podcast talking about all the positive things that went down. But let's talk about one of the biggest elephants in the room, and that is the kicker position. Greg Joseph missed another field goal on Sunday. I say missed politely because he legit kicked a defensive lineman in the face with the football. That's probably his fault. He has now missed 5 of his last field goal attempts at US Bank Stadium.
Yeah.
He is now 9 of 14 on field goal attempts this season, has not made a kick at US Bank Stadium since week 1.
Yeah.
I have it in the outline as, do the Vikings have a kicker problem? The Vikings have a kicker problem.
Yeah.
How do they solve it?
Don't kick from 50 yards away. I think he hasn't missed from inside 50. He hasn't missed from inside 50 at all this year. I think, all of his misses have been from 50 yards or further away. He's had a couple extra point misses too, which is annoying, but a lot of kickers are doing that. Look at the Panthers yesterday, missing that extra point to lose. Yeah, they have a kicking problem, but what's the solution? If they can't trade for Justin Tucker, they can't trade for anyone else. They can't trade for Young Ho Koo or whatever. There's no one on the street is good. Like,
you know what a friend suggested to me?
Go for
he
two.
goes, why wouldn't they just call the Raiders and offer a first for Daniel Carlson?
I've seen that a lot out there. But then
people have suggested this. I thought he was just joking.
No.
Oh,
it's a thing. It's a thing. Which is fine. Mike Zimmer's not there anymore, so he's probably like, yeah, sure, I'll go. I don't care. Mike Zimmer's not there. Controlled environment. But yeah, I think the Raiders, they don't have a lot of good going on right now. So I think they just signed him to an extension.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think that's going to happen. Finding a good kicker in this league is not easy, clearly. So I don't think they're about to just let that guy go for nothing. Well, I think I heard this discussion somewhere else, but if someone was like, you could trade for Justin Tucker, but you had to give up like a 2nd-round pick, would you do it?
Yeah.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
I would give a 1st-round pick. I don't even care. It's like, I don't think people realize how much kicking makes a difference. Like, you just have that reliable. You're like, do we want to go for it or not? I don't know, but we can automatically get 3 points. Let's just do that. Like, he's been a big reason why the Ravens have been what they've been the last few years, just being able to stay in games because he's pretty much automatic from everywhere. But back to Greg Joseph, there aren't a lot of solutions. Like, you can go back to the drawing board with Matt Daniels. I think the Vikings have done all they can. Like, they've pumped him up. They're positive. They don't throw him under the bus. Like, I don't think there was any talk about him after the game yesterday. But it's a problem. It's week 8, or it was, but they have time to fix it. But yeah, us Vikings fans are so scarred by kickers. All we can think of is like, it's going to be in the playoffs. It's going to be coming down to a kick, or they need an extra point to tie or something, and he misses it. So, I would love to say I'm not worried about it, but definitely am.
If there's one position I don't want this team to screw with, it's definitely kicker. Like, number 1 with a bullet. Like, do not mess with kickers. Our friend Tyler Fornes over at the Vikings Wire, the article was actually published at Yahoo, so I don't know if it was a Yahoo article or what, but he dropped some names that the Vikings could go after. And it's Matthew Wright. Don't know who that is.
Nope.
Sam Ficken, Austin Seibert, both formerly of Detroit Lions fame. So that would be a bold strategy. Jose Borregales. I probably just butchered his name.
Yep.
Elliot Fry. Borregales, I did okay. Or Borregales, I don't know. Let's just move on. Elliot Fry, Aldrich Rosas, and Ryan Santoso, former Gopher.
Did you make up all those names?
It sure as hell seems like it. I didn't write the article. It was Tyler. We'd have to
I
ask
know.
him.
There's no kick. There's like Greg Joseph is the best kicker out of all those kickers. Like, there's no kicker you can bring in. Like, the thing we've learned about kickers too is like the relationship with the holder and the long snapper. Like, it takes time. He was kicking well this summer. He was kicking well at the beginning of the year. You know, there's something going on. And the Vikings, he kicks fine on the road. He's fine on the road. For whatever
Yeah.
reason, in US Bank, which is not good if you want to get home playoff game or home field advantage. He's not doing that great. So maybe he needs to go practice in US Bank Stadium. Like, that's where he practices his kicks. He should do it in there. Maybe like the crowd and the glass is throwing him off or something. I don't know, but there's no other kicker out there that's better than Greg Joseph. Like,
I would not let go of Greg Joseph for any of those kickers.
no,
I guess that's what I would say. Ryan Santoso is interesting just because as a Gopher fan and a member of the 2019 Gophers, he was great. He was awesome. But I also think, at this point of the season, there's a reason why these kickers are available because they're not
correct.
effective. They could call, I don't know. I am in Brookings. Maybe they could call Adam Vinatieri and see if he wants to do
Is
a
he
little
50 now?
Yeah, a little. I mean, I don't know. How old was Gary Anderson when he kicked for us?
Yeah. Maybe what's his face? Greg Joseph needs to bring back the single bar. And that maybe his face mask just getting in the way too much. He needs the single bar. Are you even allowed to wear that anymore? I don't even think so.
I would doubt it. There's probably some kind of concussion protocol thing with it.
How
It's just like Rick Vaughn with the glasses in Major League, where he's got the little,
like, how was that even like offered? Why was one single bar a
Why did they play with leather helmets back in the day?
that's true.
Just I don't know. So anyway, Tuesday trade deadline. The NFL's trade deadline is on Tuesday. We've already seen some deals. Roquan Smith went to the Baltimore Ravens earlier today. The Philadelphia Eagles have already picked up Robert Quinn from the Bears. Did they make another trade? I think they did. They or did they not? Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
I don't know. I'm probably just imagining things.
The Chiefs got Kadarius Toney.
Yes, the Chiefs got Kadarius Toney, who has a tattoo of New York on his back. So that and his old number. He had 89. Now he wears 19 for the Chiefs, which is hilarious. I don't know. Tattoos, man.
He seems like a great. I've seen some of his interactions on like Instagram and stuff. He seems like a great guy. Great guy.
Oh, he's the type. That's the type of thing like after you trade for him, you go, "Oh, well,
I guess he's
on
the team." Yeah.
Yeah. The Vikings were reportedly interested in Brandon Cooks over the weekend. Cooks has 32 catches, 354 yards, and a touchdown this season. He also has 2 years left on his contract extension, which he signed this offseason, carries a $26 million cap hit for next season. Some other targets include Jerry Jeudy of the Broncos, Chase Claypool of the Steelers, or they could just sign Odell Beckham Jr., but we talked about the trouble with the salary cap with that. Although it sounds like they could just convert some bonuses, and that might clear up some room, so maybe they'll do that. Anyway, what receivers do you want to see the Vikings target as they head into the trade deadline?
I know he just said he's pretty expensive, but I like Brandon Cooks. He's super fast. He's always reliable. Doesn't really get hurt. He's been in the Rams offense, so he's pretty familiar with some of the schemes that the Vikings are already running. He's still really fast, so he's going to draw a lot of attention. He's young. He's like, I looked at it. Now I got it. You've transferred your cold to me through the internet.
Through the microphone. Hold up, we don't want to start a conspiracy here.
Right. I think he's 29. Yeah, he's 29.
Yeah, 29.
So he's at the age where he's probably past getting like super big deals. So I know he's expensive now, but if he does well, you can probably get him for a pretty decent like penny, or you can let him walk and draft somebody else. But But I like Brandon Cooks just because of his experience in the offense, and he's still pretty good. He's very fast, and he's been reliable. He's just been traded around a bunch of times for whatever reason. I do like I would like if it's not Brandon Cooks. I would rather just wait it out and see if they can get Odell Beckham. Because the Chiefs just traded for Kadarius Toney, I feel like that should put them out of the running for Odell Beckham. Although I've seen things that are like, no, they're still in the running. But if you were Odell, why would you like go there? They have like 7 receivers now. Like,
because you're better than all of them.
I understand,
you're all better than all of them. Like,
for
okay,
sure.
I'm just gonna come in and dominate.
But we know Andy Reid likes to just mix things up and get as many people involved as possible. He's got like 6 running backs too. He's got like Jerick McKinnon in there and Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Pacheco.
Yeah.
So if they can't get Brandon Cooks, like I don't want anything really to do with, like, I don't mind if they get Claypool, but this might be stupid, but him celebrating the first down when they were trying to score in the last minute last year kind of rubbed me the wrong way. And then who's the other? Jerry Jeudy. I think it might be too costly to get him. At the same time, like I always hear like, oh, it'll be a first round pick, second round pick. Like those picks aren't guaranteed to be good either. Like we already know what some of these guys are capable of, and if you feel like that it's worth a first or a second round pick, then fine, then use it. But like I keep hearing like, can't give up a first round pick. Why not? Like
you probably won't need to. Football trades are weird, man. Like
right. But people are just
Robert Quinn went for a 4th or something.
But people like freak out. They freak out if you're like, oh, you have to give up a 3rd to get Jerry Jeudy. A 3rd? Okay. Like Kellen Mond was drafted in the 3rd round. Okay.
Right.
Like let's not get crazy. Like third rounders are so great. Like do what you have to do to like look at the Rams. Like I know Kwesi's was quoted like, don't go full Rams, but look what they did. Like they went out and traded for Von Miller. They traded for Jalen Ramsey. They signed Odell Beckham. Like they've done all these things to get what they needed, and they won the Super Bowl. So like they proved they can be done if you just, you're good. Look at the Eagles. They're undefeated and they still traded for Robert Quinn. Like so like they're still trying to add pieces. Like the Vikings we've talked like the Vikings are ascending. And what we saw from the Vikings during the draft and what we saw from them right after cut day, Kwesi likes to make trades. So I would be very surprised if they don't make a trade tomorrow. But yeah, those receivers, that's what Brandon Cooks or hold out for OBJ.
I think the only one that I'd be a little bit leery of is Chase Claypool for the reason you mentioned. I mean, there's that first down when they were trailing and the clock's running and all that stuff. They also had, he takes a dip right before a, media interview and he's like, oh my God, the lights. It's like, what are you, the music thing.
Hey, listen, when was the last time a Steelers receiver was, in trade talks under Mike Tomlin?
Long time, because they're pretty good at figuring out who's good.
Well, that and like if Mike Tomlin doesn't like you, if he's okay with you being on the trade block, it probably says a lot about you because he dealt with Antonio Brown. So
the Parati or whatever he called it.
Parati, yeah.
Parati or yeah.
He said Parodi. Like I was like, talking about pierogies? What are you talking about?
Well, I haven't ate dinner yet. That
His
sounds
brain's
amazing.
a pierogi right now.
Well, Irv Smith Jr. is out with a high ankle sprain. We mentioned that. His days are probably numbered here. So they'll probably be looking for a tight end. Mike Gesicki is one possible target.
Listen, mother, I'm just gonna cut you off. I don't want to give anything up to trade for a tight end. Like the Vikings have this offense and this regime have clearly like made it clear that tight end's not really that important in their offense. So giving up assets to get a tight end, maybe if someone's like, you can have him for a 7th round pick, okay, fine. But I don't think they're going after someone like Gesicki or whatever.
Like a 4th or a 5th would probably be my maybe even a fifth.
I don't know.
I have listed Mike Gesicki, who I don't know. He's fine, I guess.
Yeah, we're gonna gritty.
Yeah, maybe that'll be it. They'll just trade for him.
What
He did the gritty once. TJ Hawkinson is another name listed, but I think that's going to cost you a lot. And Albert Okwuegbunam from the Broncos, he just doesn't excite me at all. So, I mean, I don't know. We'll see what happens leading up to the trade deadline, and maybe the Vikings will do anything. Is there any other position you think the Vikings should be targeting?
Yes. He's the player on our cover art for this episode, Mr. Stephon Gilmore from the Colts. The Colts are not playing good right now. And the Vikings could use another starting corner. I know Cameron Dantzler has been pretty good, PFF, analytics, or whatever, but DeAndre Hopkins destroyed them yesterday. Tyreek Hill destroyed them in Miami. So did Jalen Waddle. They still need some cornerback help. I think Stephon Gilmore would be good. He's getting older. I think he's still the 24th ranked corner on PFF this year, so he's still pretty decent. He's not that expensive. The Colts are already paying, I believe. He signed like a 2-year, $20 million deal, and I think they're already paying $10 million of that was fully guaranteed at signing. So he's someone I would be interested in because I feel like the Colts, that division's weird. That the AFC South, I guess it's kind of still up for grabs, but the Colts are not. They're not. I think once they benched Matt Ryan, they're like, all right, we're probably gonna lose the rest of the year. So I would like to see the Vikings go after someone like Stephon Gilmore for sure.
Yeah, a receiver is probably at the top of my list. If they look at guards, I mean, what guards are you going to get at the deadline, right? I mean, teams aren't going to let good guards go.
Right.
So I don't know. It'll be interesting. The thing about the NFL trade deadline is like there's a lot of talk and nothing happens. So, I mean, we've had a deal or two, but I would be surprised if the Vikings swung some, oh my God, deal. Unless it's like they signed Odell Beckham hours after the deadline.
Right now, what would you say is the better unit, the Vikings offense or the Vikings defense?
That's
is that tough? Really?
Yeah. For me, yeah. I mean, the offense looked good. So I mean,
yeah, I think the defense.
A couple weeks ago, I might have said it's a little closer, but I mean, the offense put up 34 points last week.
I'm just saying because I think I agree with you. So I'm just saying, like, I think they need to focus on improving the defense because I keep hearing like receiver and tight end talk. And I'm just like, yeah, but they need help on defense. They still need. They're not great. They still, like, when you get to the playoffs, you need, like, this is still true. You need a good defense. You need a good running game. Like, you got to be able to pass the ball now too. But like, still rings true. You got to have like a decent rushing attack and a good defense in the playoffs. It's always true. So I think if they add someone like Stephon Gilmore or maybe a different slot corner other than Shannon Sullivan, who's been terrible this year, that would help them out a lot. So I would like to see that, but we will see.
Well, on that note, that is all the time we have for today on the Viking Age podcast. We do this every Monday and Thursday night right here on the Viking Age YouTube channel. We're also in podcast form on Apple and Spotify the very next day. But for Adam Patrick, I am Chris Schad, and we'll talk to you next time.
Boom.